Welcome to a special edition of ADHD reWired with Eric Tivers. Today we are proud to announce the ADHD reWired's Super Amazing Awesome Pants Scholarship Fund. Jessica Stillwell, having just completed the ADHD reWired Coaching and Accountability Group, thought highly enough of her experience that she could not bear to think of anyone else missing this opportunity due to finances. It is now the pleasure of ADHD reWired podcast to introduce the benefactor of the Super Amazing Awesome Pants Scholarship Fund, Jessica Stillwell.
Welcome to a midweek special edition episode of ADHD reWired. I mentioned on Tuesday's episode that we may have a bonus episode, and here it is. Jessica just graduated from the most recent session of the ADHD reWired Coaching and Accountability Group. And when Jessica first joined, she had shared with me that she had actually received, she was wanting to join this group for a while, but really couldn't afford it. And then she received an inheritance. Her grandfather passed away and unexpectedly received an inheritance. And she knew right away that she wanted to use that money to invest in herself, to work on a lot of the challenges that she had been struggling with. And during that screening call, she had said to me or asked me, have you ever done any kind of scholarship fund? Because I'd like to be able to, help somebody else do this. And my first thought was like, wow, that's extraordinarily generous. Let's revisit that at the very end. But, also as a therapist, I'm always trying to be cognizant of potential conflicts of interest. And I'm like, is she just trying to pay her way to get special privileges in the group? So I wasn't really sure about it. I just met Jessica, over video. And so I wasn't sure about this. So as the end of the group is approaching, we revisit that conversation, and she still wants to provide this gift, the gift that in a sense that she was given unexpectedly. And so let's kind of start from there. Did I get that story right?
You did, yes.
Okay. So the gift that she's going to be giving is going to be two people are going to be able to sign up for this group basically we're giving two $700 scholarships for the group. So and there'll be a link in the show notes, and I'll probably mention somewhere, I'll probably record it a little bit later about how that breaks down to monthly payments. But what I want you to hear is the story, because that's a big part of what we do on ADHD reWired is we share stories. So Jessica, share your story. Before you joined the group, kind of what was going on with you?
So before I joined the group, I was diagnosed with ADHD a number of years ago, and I had always kind of had the same struggles at each of the jobs. And it was one of those things where I would constantly be striving to try to put strategies in place to work better and more efficiently and, just to overcome a lot of the typical ADHD issues that we all experience. But I just wasn't getting anywhere. And it didn't matter how hard I tried, I just kept, running into the same obstacles. So I've been listening to your podcast for, I think I started listening at episode number 3, actually. And you started talking about this ADHD accountability group. I work with an individual ADHD coach as well. And one of the things that we had always talked about is kind of having more accountability for myself. And I thought, well, an accountability group of people with ADHD, that this seems to be exactly what it is that I'm looking for. I need accountability for certain things. So I really wanted to join it. I just, at the time when I first heard about it, I didn't have the means. I desperately wanted to be a part of this group. I just knew that it was going to be a game changer for me, and I wasn't able to until I received this inheritance from my grandfather. And that was, the first thing that I earmarked it for was to join the accountability group. And then I also knew that it was important because I was in that situation for so long, for probably close to a year, I I knew that I needed the assistance. I just couldn't afford it. And so I wanted to try to make that. I didn't want other people to be in that same situation. It's the worst feeling to know that something will help and you just can't do it because of something as simple as not being able to afford it. So I just wanted to help with that if I could.
And it's I was talking with Laura DePar yesterday, who's as you know is my coach, and I was talking to you the other day too about how this gift has been like I was kind of overwhelmed by it in the positive way, and it's such an extraordinary act of generosity and paying it forward that it was it meant just so much to me. And but I was also overwhelmed with logistically of, all right, so I've never had something like this. How do I actually get the word out so people are aware of this? We have less than 2 weeks before registration closes. I want as many people to be able to hear this, who really want to be able to join the group, to be able to benefit from this. And so I want to create some kind of sort of a simple contest where you're writing something basically indicating why you think you would benefit from this. And so basically that's what we're going to be doing. And I'm going to, at the end of our conversation, I'm going to clarify what the actual rules are for the scholarship. But it was just, and I made the comment to you, I just wish I could make a magic wand occur where the money gets transferred and then everyone knows about it, and then the applications start coming in, and you made this comment like, oh yeah, sort of what I thought it would be like too, and so it's like
yeah,
you got to write the copy.
I'm like, oh, this is a great idea.
So,
how does this happen?
But it's extraordinary. So, truly, thank you. So, what I want you to talk about too. You had said to me that when you first joined the group, you said to me a couple things. One, you have zero working memory, and
yeah.
and even at that time, I'm like, well, I get that you're struggling with your working memory, but the fact that you could hold a complex sentence together says you don't have zero working memory, right? And you're like, yeah,
right.
But I have, so. And you're like, I want to get to inbox zero. I want to be more productive. I'm constantly overwhelmed at work. And a lot of the things that a lot of people who join this group say. And the one thing that and we were just talking about before we hit record is you were really stressed. You were just, I think, you were pushing yourself really hard. So which says you're a very driven person. But I wouldn't say that you were. I don't think you were happy with the place that you were at that point.
I would say that's accurate. Yeah, that's definitely true. I just, I have a hard time saying no. I just kind of whatever. I'm pretty fluid with dealing with whatever the situation is around me, and a lot of times I just kind of accept whatever responsibility there is. If nobody clearly steps forward and says, "Hey, I'll do that," I just naturally kind of take that on, and I've gotten to the point where I'm kind of at maximum capacity with that. So, but I didn't realize it.
Will you talk a little bit about your work, sleep, productivity cycle?
So, well, I'm not doing it anymore, but typically what I would do before I started this group is, so I have two small children. I have a 3-year-old and a 20-month-old at this point, and
who, by the way, are both extraordinarily cute.
They are. I know they really are. I'm not just saying that; they're cute kids. But they are very. They're very loving. They're very, they're 3 and 20. I don't even know, 20 months. So they're demanding. It's a lot of work. So I would. Typically, I am the one who kind of puts them to bed. I have the nighttime routine. We all co-sleep just because I was never able to figure out the crib thing. And getting them to sleep usually involves me laying in bed with them until they fall asleep. So that can take, that would take anywhere from half an hour to 2 hours based on situation, because I'm not so good with routines. So I never got a bedtime routine down. So would do that, get them to sleep, and then I would either crash at that time because I'd been laying in bed for 2 hours, or I would try to work at night after they went to sleep, usually very late at night, starting after 10 or 11. Not actually being productive or working, just making myself try to be. So I would, and there were definitely, it started to get into a habit where I would keep pushing myself to try to get something done to the point that it would be to try to go to sleep and then wake up would just be worse than just staying up all night. So the other thing and that didn't happen as frequently, but my standard would be to, put my kids to sleep, and then I would set my alarm for 3 to 3:30 in the morning. And then I would get up, anytime between 3 and 4, I would log on. I would try to squeeze in as much work as I could. And then I would have to get my kids ready, get me ready, and then go to work, get to work, and then work until, 5 or 6 the next day.
Wow. So you were averaging about 3 to 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah, I would say a really good night would have been 5 hours. 5 hours, 6 hours is 6 hours is kind of unheard of. But I would say maybe 4 hours would be average.
Okay. And what are you doing now, and what helped you get there?
So during the accountability group, everybody kept talking about sleep. And one of the really neat things about the accountability group at the very beginning was just hearing that everybody had sleep issues, which I kind of knew, but hearing it and hearing other people experiencing the same things that you are is definitely different than just knowing that it's out there. And with that, there was this big push within the group to have better sleep hygiene. And I was like, whatever, I don't need sleep.
You're pissed about this too. You're like, oh, so annoying. Don't they know how much work I have to do? I don't have time to sleep.
Exactly. So I would just kind of be like, whatever. I don't want to tune out. And really, I really did have that thought of, I have too much work to sleep. I cannot focus on my sleep because it's going to get in the way of me trying to keep up with everything else that I'm trying to do. But eventually, I don't even know why, but eventually I was like, you know what? Maybe this sleep thing is kind of a bigger deal than I thought. So I did kind of join the group initiative to try to get a better sleep schedule. I think it probably took me a couple of weeks to even acknowledge that it might be an issue. And then I did, and it was very slow at first, to a point where I would be trying to work through the night, and then I would be like, you know what? It would get to a point where I'm not being productive. I really should just go to sleep. So that happened a couple of times. I think maybe the first time I just thought about it and then continued working, but then eventually I would actually stop what I was doing, go to sleep, and that was really just kind of the start of me taking better care of myself. Overall, that was definitely the what's the word I'm looking for? The thing that starts everything else.
Yeah, I mean, it's but what you're describing too is part of how the change process works. You're contemplating it, and then you're kind of sort of getting ready to do it, and now you've been doing it, and in the group we were posting we used sleep apps. Most of us were using Sleep Cycle, and we were posting that every night. And you were really consistent about posting that, and I took joy when you got a better sleep score than I did. Because when I was seeing your sleep scores at first, I was like, oh my God, does Jessica understand why she's struggling so much? This is the reason why she's struggling so much, because she's getting, what was your sleep percentage scores? 30%, 40%?
The average was 40. It started at 30. It got up to 40%, yeah. So it was, and I had no idea. I had no idea.
And what are you at now?
I think I'm occasionally getting up to the 80s. I think I'm averaging 70%-ish. There's still some ways to go, but a vast improvement overall.
That's a huge improvement.
I have not done an all-nighter in many weeks. And I'm typically getting up I think really I'm just listening to what my body is telling me. If I try to get up at 3 o'clock and it takes me 45 minutes to get out of bed because I'm so tired, maybe I should just sleep a little bit longer. So I started to do that as well. And overall, it's been a huge improvement.
So what are the benefits that you've been seeing at work, at home?
Well, one of the biggest challenges for me is with my job is, I'm kind of trying to do something that I'm trying to do something that my brain doesn't naturally want to do. And before I started taking better care of my sleep, I would constantly think about what I needed to do, but I was not able to actually execute it. And everything was fuzzy. I was just constantly walking around in the brain fog. And the big thing is I was not able to manage stress well. The stress, so just going into work, knowing how behind I was on things, I would have this incredible anxiety about it. And it would give me physical symptoms. I would have a hard time taking deep breath and my stomach would be bothering me. But when I was able to, when I started taking better care of myself sleep-wise, I noticed that I was definitely able, that level of anxiety was greatly reduced. And I was able to kind of think, it just wasn't as high, first of all, and then the anxiety that I would feel about how behind I was on things, I was kind of able to prioritize it a little bit more and just manage it better. And when you're not constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop, it's easier for you it's just easier for you to work in general and get through your day.
You were telling me the other day about the sort of unexpected kind of benefits, the unexpected things that you got out of the group. We talk a little bit about that because I think that's so important.
Yeah, so I think and I'm still kind of working through some of the benefits of the group because my intention for joining the group was to have people that were willing to provide me with accountability for the things that I wanted to do, which is be more efficient at work and more productive at work. And all this other sort of hippy-dippy stuff, I really had no interest in at first. I was very much against taking better care of yourself. The
self-care stuff, I'll give you a break. Give me the inbox zero. That's what I want. Right?
Geez, the self-care. Everybody kept talking about it. I didn't get it at first. Like, I just didn't understand it. The first half of the group, the first 5 weeks or so, I was really resistant to it. And everybody would say, like, you're so stressed. And I'm like, stress? No. It's just life. Deal with it. And I remember there were even times where I would get angry during a group when everybody would start talking about self-care. And I'm like, okay, how does being kind to myself help me when I'm sitting at work and a million people are asking me for a million things, and that doesn't help because it doesn't change the fact that I still need them.
I remember that you asked. I remember that specific question that you asked. You're like, I want to ask a question. This may seem like maybe like a stupid question or something. Like, maybe I'm just not getting it. How is self-care going to actually help me? It doesn't make sense. And you were just like, you had this sort of like chip on your shoulder when you asked it. You were pissed.
I was like, I don't get it. I don't get how this concept is going to help me in my situation. Because I work around neurotypical people and they're expecting me to work neurotypical ways. And I just I was not able to connect the two. But I think the start of that was somebody, I remember I asked that question, and then I think somebody said, just why don't you try to listen to Brene Brown? And I was like, everybody keeps talking about her too. I don't want to deal with that too. So I was like, all right, if everybody is talking about this, and by then I think I had started to see the sleep maybe improving a little bit. So I actually did listen to the Brene Brown book. I don't even remember which one it was. Just the Audible version on my way to work and home from work every day. And I did not expect to get anything from that, and I was fully anticipating it being a waste of my time, but I did, and that was really kind of a catalyst. That's what I was thinking of before. That was a catalyst for kind of all the other changes that I've that had kind of accelerated and happened by the end of the group.
I mean, I think over the last just couple of weeks that in the last like maybe a week or two in the group, especially and the few times we've talked following the group, Jessica, I've seen you smile more than I've seen you smile the entire time with the group. I mean, it's extraordinary. I mean, it's talk about a story of transformation. I mean, it's so fulfilling for me to know that this occurred as you being as a result of you being part of this group.
Yeah, and I think because part of the for me, I have the two small kids. I have not a lot of support at home as far as managing just the household and being able to manage my work. So I had no support system basically. I didn't have anybody that understood what I was going through. And that's not to say that my family is not very loving and understanding. I felt like I had nobody. I felt like I was on an island. I was dealing with everything on my own. Nobody was getting me. And then even at first with the ADHD, with the accountability group, starting with that, I'm working in, kind of in a professional setting, in a corporate office every day. And most of the people in the group were not in that situation. They had more free time. They had jobs that were probably better suited to people with ADHD. So I was even at first within the group, I was feeling very alone in that my situation. I didn't really have anybody to relate to, but slowly over time, I realized that the things that were really kind of hindering my progress forward were the things that had nothing to do with my corporate work situation and had much more to do with my, just how I handle everyday things, everyday scenarios. And I think from that aspect, probably the turning point was kind of earlier on in the group. I had a situation at home that was pretty tough, and I actually had reached out to everybody in the group to ask them just to let them know what's going on and just say, I need support. I don't know how I'm going to get it, but I just need support right now. And I was pretty overwhelmed by how caring and how everybody immediately provided me with confirmation that what I was doing was the right thing, and that they were there for me. So that was unexpected and really, really helped me make significant changes in the time since. And how many gifts that night? That too was huge.
What was huge? I'm sorry.
What was that? I'm sorry.
You said something was huge, and I missed that.
It's just the fact that I was going through a very, very, that night, just that one evening was very difficult, and even though I had, I was able to manage it on my own, that night I was probably feeling at the lowest I'd felt in a very long time, and having that support there got me through the night intact and feeling good about what I was doing.
Would you be willing to share, you shared in the group, in the Facebook group, about a win that you had between you and your husband, and kind of just telling just what you needed? Yeah.
So one of my biggest struggles is that with my husband, a lot of times he is very good at telling me what he needs, and so he'll tell me what he needs, and he'll just do it. And I'm the opposite, where I'll say, "Hey, I need to do this." Well, no, I want to do this. Okay, I guess I'll take care of the kids. So, I don't have any time to myself. Basically, I have the kids hanging on me 100% of the time, and I love them. But so every so often, I'd like to not have a little tiny person physically on me. So I'm an introvert as well, so I definitely need some time to process things. I need time to myself, which is something else I had recently discovered was huge for me. And I had had a very unfriendly introvert day. I went to a birthday party with people that I was acquaintances with some of them, and I didn't know anyone else. And it was a kids' party, and there were kids running all over the place, and some of them were like, you know, and then my kids were there, and my husband is like having a great time, and I'm looking at their kids, and it was tough. And I didn't want to go in the first place, so I was kind of mad that I had to go, and then I was running after kids, and I was ready to leave by the time I got there. So by the time I got home, I was definitely completely depleted, and I had actually asked him if he could come up and take one of the kids. So I had taken them both up to bed. I was laying in bed with them. One of them was up, one of them wasn't. I asked him if he could come up, take one of them to let the other one sleep, and he said, he basically said, well, if I take him, he's going to start screaming, which is what he usually says when I ask him to do something with any of the kids. So normally I would just kind of be like, fine, and I'd be bitter about it and angry about it, and I would just deal with it. But in this situation, I thought about it, and I was like, you know what, if I don't make a change for myself, nothing's going to change. So I thought about it for a couple of minutes, and then after I realized that I need to actually do something about it, and this was all through text because he was upstairs and I was upstairs. He had gone for a walk while I was in bed. I told him when he came back he needs to take the kids. He said, no, I'm screaming, that he would be screaming if I take him. So I told him, that's fine, I'll keep them, but I need time to myself tomorrow. I need to have some time by myself to decompress, you know, and I didn't hear back from him. So I was anticipating that he was either going to ignore the question, and when I brought it up again, it would start a fight, or that he would just have an excuse and it would just start something. But what actually happened was about 20 to 30 minutes after that, he came up to check on how we were doing, which in and of itself is unusual. And then he said, yeah, you can take whatever time you need tomorrow. And I was I think I was so shocked that he said that, actually, that I didn't say anything for a minute. And then I was like, okay, thanks. That is, I think, the first time that's ever happened in such a cordial way. First time that I've ever actively said, I need time to myself because I am not doing well right now. And he reciprocated in a way that is what people should do. They should say, okay, I understand, and I'll let you have it. So that was a big win for me. It was a big win.
So you're self-advocating for what you need. You're honoring yourself.
Yeah.
And you know, you're saying that as a result of the things that you've gotten out of this group, you've been able to do that.
I didn't understand the concept of, and that goes back to the self-care. I didn't know that was self-care. I didn't know that that's how that would play into my daily life. I had no idea that that is the connection there, that I need something, I need to ask for it. That's self-care.
So if someone were to say, you know, I heard you were in this coaching group and there's all this self-care, you know, stuff, and they, you know, and I heard that sometimes people cry. I don't want any of that, you know. All I want to do is figure out how to plan my day to set and actually achieve my goals, figure out how to keep my desk clear. Like, should I even join this group? Because all I want is productivity.
I don't know who would think that. That's completely foreign. So what I would say to them is it's fine to go into it thinking that, because that's exactly what I wanted out of this group. That is exactly what I wanted out of this group when I started. And I didn't want anything more, and I actively resisted anything more. But just be open to the fact that whether that's your intention or whether that's your goal, there's definitely there's a big possibility that there's going to be other aspects that other people are going to point out. Eric, you had mentioned in one of the sessions about blind spot. This was a big blind spot of mine. I had no idea that this was a problem for me. And you might just having that many people that are in a similar situation as you, and they're able to see things in you that you can't see, and pointing it out. And I think for me, it takes a while for me to kind of catch on to things sometimes, and it took me a while to catch on to it. And then once I did, I started to see that change. So just being aware that, yes, I'm sure you will definitely go into this group with one set of goals and with one set of goals, and then throughout the process of this accountability group, just be aware that may completely shift, and you might end up on the other side of it with a completely different set of aspirations based on your experience.
And how many times, if you recall, did you actually get to inbox 0? I know there was at least once.
Oh, yeah, there was once. There was one time. I was never at inbox 0 because emails, that's like a whole other monster. But there's this other system that I have that I've constantly, it's a constant struggle for me, similar to emails. And one time I did get 2.
So,
I did get there once.
So just so you know, Jessica, you achieved inbox 0 more frequently than I did during the course of the group. Just, so if that makes you feel good, I want you to have that. So yeah, it
does feel good.
What about other kind of specific tools or strategies that you did actually gain from it outside of the self-care?
I did actually. So there were a couple of people in the group. I think when I first started the group, I was disappointed that there weren't more people there in a professional setting that would be able to completely relate to what I was going through. There's one person in the group that had been in, or two people that had been in similar corporate situations, but everybody else was just from a huge variety of roles. And I actually did get some really, really useful feedback from one of those people that were in a corporate role, and we ended up being accountability partners, and that was huge. So that aspect was definitely useful, and I apply that to my daily. I try to apply that as much as possible in my profession, in my job. But the interesting thing is that some of their insights that specifically helped me do my job a little bit better came from people that had nothing to do with a corporate background and were not in a corporate background at all. And just having them being able to offer insight from a totally different perspective is gold. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, sometimes when you're like so in the thick of it, it's hard to actually see the solutions that actually might be right in front of you, because it sort of requires that ability to think outside the box, to realize, hey, there's this thing over here that you could do. It's like, oh, it's well, nobody ever does like that, but there's no reason why we can't.
Exactly. And, but I would say even more than that, just the thing that I heard over and over and over again was, this does not seem to be a good fit. And
you didn't want to hear
I was
that.
like, I did not want to hear that. No, I was like, but I just, no, it's fine. I can deal with it. I can figure it out.
I think actually the first
how.
time that I brought that up to you, I think you very quickly shut that whole notion down. You're like, no, this is not. I need to take. I'm providing for my family. Like I'm not even thinking about that. I need to know how to be more effective and get through my tasks and everything at work. That's what I need. And and now you just shared with me last week that what?
So I shared with you last week that I am. Just one day I woke up and I was thinking about everything that I had to do at work, and it's not that I'm not trying, because the amount of hours that I put in are just astronomical. But I got up one day and I was just like, man, I'd be okay if I was somewhere else. And that I had not had that thought before. That had not even come to mind, because I love the concept of my job is great. I love the people I work with. It's just the role that I'm in doesn't suit me. And it doesn't suit the way that my brain works. So I've, since the group, and even with the group, I've kind of gotten some more insights into how I work and how I'm trying to accommodate my job without even realizing that I'm doing it. And I realized that, maybe I do need to either develop something where I am or find a place that I can work the way that my brain wants to. And that was big. That was a big deal for me. Even just acknowledging that it's big.
You said that you through the course of this group at the end, you kind of just learned to just kind of be okay with the way your brain works. Not that you're like throwing your hands up in the air and say, oh, well, I'm not good at that. It's you're having more compassion for yourself, and considering other options, for yourself. And it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's, because it's not something, if somebody can't see 100% clearly, they wear glasses. If somebody has a physical ailment, it's okay and you can talk about it. But, I feel like I've had repercussions from what I'm looking for. I'm losing it again. I'm sorry. From telling my employer that I had ADHD. I would always, I guess I'm the eternal optimist. I always think that it's going to get better. I just don't know how. And so
you just try harder, right?
Just try. That is like my big thing. I'm not trying hard enough. So, with this job, I forgot what I was going to say. I'm sorry. I completely forgot where I was going with that.
I love it. I do that all the time. I was talking about how you said that you've learned to kind of just be okay. And So I learned that it's okay for my brain to be neuroatypical because, at some of the jobs that I'd had before that I did get kind of, I was fired from one because of it. I got and another job that I wasn't fired from it, but there was definitely a shift in, the way that everybody worked with me. So it's not something that I want to disclose. And so having this kind of, knowing that you work differently than other people, knowing that things are harder for you than other people and not being able to talk about it and still having the expectation come in to you that you need to perform in a way that is not conducive to how you are, that, for me, that's why I just went to I just need to work harder. I just need to do more. I just need to put in more hours because I didn't have anybody telling me that it's okay that your brain works this way and you're not working in a place that lets your brain work that way. So since I didn't have that, I was just having people telling me, you just need to figure it out. You just need to do a job. You believe it after a while. So having a group of people saying, no, your brain doesn't work that way. It's okay. Like just, maybe you need to find something that is more, that fits you more. And after a while, it took a while for that to sink in, but it did. And once I was open to it, it was another game changer. Like, okay, maybe they're right. Maybe no amount of hours in the world is going to fix this issue, and I need to find something that works better because it is just, it'll be easier and everything will change if you can just do a job that you're not swimming upstream the entire way. Jessica, what I'm hearing is that being able to once you're able to own your story, then you're able to write your own ending. And so it's really, I'm hearing you right. You're changing the course of your story right now. You're changing the course of where you're going to be going right now because you're owning it, you're accepting it, and you're working at it. Acceptance is not a throwing your hands up in the air and just saying, I don't really care anymore. It's like trying to really say, okay, I know I have challenges. Where am I going to be best suited so I can actually use my strengths instead of just trying to be quote unquote normal like everybody else. Because I'm really bad at playing normal. So I don't even really try. Right? It's like, I mean, on my voicemail, I say, please do not leave me a voicemail. Like, go to my website and schedule a call with me, because I know, like, if I said it shouldn't be hard to return a call, like, but I'm being honest with myself. It's like, I'm bad at returning calls, right? I work on it. I try to, but my track record isn't good, and I've acknowledged that. And so it's like, is that sort of not normal to be a business owner where people are trying to get in contact with me, and I say, please don't leave me a message? That's honoring myself. And the funny thing is, I had someone recently say to me, I know you said you don't want me to leave you a message, but I'm really bad at the computer, and if you don't call me back, I understand. But when I heard her say that, I was like, all right, I'll call you back. And I called her back like right away. So it's like, so part of it's like, when the expectation is, all right, someone's waiting for me, and now it's like the pressure's on, and it's, and that's the ADHD piece, right? And so it's learning how to make those accommodations kind of around ourselves to support ourselves, so we can, really function in our kind of zone of genius, right? And being prompt and returning phone calls is not in my zone of genius.
Right. So exactly, there's so many things that I'm really, really good at that other people are not good at all. And I like doing those things, and other people hate doing those things. And for me, the accountability group got me to the point where I am now comfortable saying, I'm not good at this. I am good at this. How about we do this? And if not, then, and before, I think my fear was they would be like, nope, sorry, and I then start the decline of trying to continue to do what I did, and until they were just like, no more. But now it's like, okay, this is what I'm good at. I'm going to ask for it. If they say no, then that is telling me that I need to find somewhere where they'll say yes.
Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Now, tell me the name, because I want you to say it. The name of the scholarship fund.
So it's the but I can't remember it. Hold on. It's on I have it on my phone. It's the Super Awesome Amazing Pants Scholarship Fund.
Okay. I have it Super Amazing Awesome Pants Scholarship Fund.
Super Amazing Awesome Pants Scholarship. Yes, it's a Super Amazing Awesome Pants Scholarship Fund.
So what is that? What is that? Where's that? Like, it's the name. I mean, I love it because it's like random. I'm like, what is that? Which is why I like it. But what's the story behind it?
Well, so I guess it's getting to the point where I'm getting too old for it to be cute. I love cartoons. I really do. I've been watching SpongeBob SquarePants since I was in high school. So I love SpongeBob, and I'm super psyched that my kids like it too, because now we all get to watch it. So anything that's awesome, I just put pants on it. So my daughter's cranky, she's sassy pants. My son is cranky, he's cranky pants. This is an awesome thing, so it's awesome pants.
I love it. It's so the ADHD rewired Super Amazing Awesome Pants Scholarship Fund contest. The details will be you maybe heard them at the beginning of this. Maybe you're going to hear them again at the end of this. Since I haven't recorded that, I have to just speculate on what might happen. Jessica, thank you so much for providing this to two people for this contest, for people to be able to join who might not otherwise be able to join. It's incredible. It's overwhelming. It's hard for me to not get choked up about it every time I talk about it. So thank you, and congratulations on everything that you have achieved. It's inspiring. It is really inspiring. I just want you should be really proud of yourself, and thank you for sharing your story here with us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad to come on and talk about it. And I would, for me, the biggest thing was I felt so alone before. I had people that were like me, that cared about me, and that was huge. So, I think if anybody who is feeling alone, this is a great opportunity to kind of get through that.
Any final thoughts that you want to leave listeners with?
I think that I think that was my final thought. Just
that sounded like a final thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
If you're feeling alone, this is great.
Jessica, thank you. Thank you so much. And we will get this out. Hopefully we'll get this out tomorrow. All right.
Awesome,
Thanks.
Hello again, everybody. I hope you enjoyed learning about Jessica Stilwell. I am Tom Nardone, and while I am not the producer of ADHD Rewired, I find myself playing as such in real life. Eric only had time to shoot me a quick audio file from his iPhone for an outro, but I determined the quality of the file was not worthy of what you have come to expect from this show. Having said that, for details about how to enter the super amazing Awesome Pants Scholarship, go to erictivers.com/awesomepants. Once again, that is erictivers.com/awesomepants. And on behalf of all of us here at ADHD Rewired, we would like to say, Jessica, thank you for your time today, and thank you for your generosity. You bring great honor to the ADHD community, and know that your gift will ultimately change someone's life for the better. I am Tom Nardone. You're welcome, and we will see you next time.